Check out what a treat fiend Prismo is. A squirrel. Treat. Oh my gosh, treats. Oh, I love treats. Oh, they're all gone. Well, you know what they say about science books. Reading them can make you cool and informed. And provoke your mind with cool ideas. Also, if you're into writing yourself, reading about science will always give you cool ideas, provocative thoughts, philosophical thoughts, sci-fi thoughts. I love this theme. I love the theme of deep time. And this is a pretty good, very simple cover for like a monograph. It's really good. It's kind of drawing me in. But deep time is a great subject. You know, when you study geology, you get into these wild realms of deep time. It's very like philosophical and interesting and like viscerally challenging to think about. But if I recall correctly from flipping through this book a bit, it's rather high language, like for smarties who already know some things about geology, but I still want to read it. I wonder if I'm related to William Smith, who made the first geologic maps. That'd be cool. Probably not, though, because Smith is a super common name. Back in the day, if you were poor and could afford wagon tools, you had yourself a job. Geologic time. Now, this book is kind of famous in certain subcultures, I believe. That whole back to the earth hippie subset of the late 60s or early 70s. I could be wrong about this, but I've heard this talked about in the same conversations as the Back to the Earth catalog and stuff. Whole Earth catalog, that's what I mean. Hog dressing, log cabin building, mountain crafts and foods, planting by the signs, snake lore, hunting tales, faith healing, moonshining, and other affairs of plain living. Remember that book, The Knowledge? I looked at in another video, if any of you are return viewers. No, it's kind of wild. People are like watching the channel and coming to the channel. Every time I look at my phone, I'm like, oh, there's a few more people. What? On the upswing again. But I have to wonder why. This is the ultimate lo-fi booktube channel. The only editing is the pause button. The host is frequently concerned about money, but working to better his life. Funny, I'm always praising Savers for having tags that come off, and this thing is baked on there. I think books like this are valuable. Probably every collection should have a few. Should probably be more organized with them. Like books of real utility, you know? I don't think I read this, but John Gribben is such a good science writer. I've mostly read his stuff about cosmology. The First Chimpanzee in Search of Human Origins. That's a great pop science topic. I would like to know that biz. Would that be Ida? Ida looked more like a lemur than the first chimpanzee, so maybe, yeah, that's too far back for this study. Should this be in science? I don't know. It does contain scientific principles, but also, you know, and it's about medicine. Wilderness first aid. When I had to take a wilderness first aid 2-day training class for the summer camp I worked at, this was our textbook. I learned, don't eat poison. And really just hope nothing bad happens out there, because it's all pretty unpleasant, the things you can do. Here's how to do a double arm chair carry. You can carry someone like this for miles. Oh, great. No, I definitely learned stuff from this. And the training was interesting. Everyone kind of bonded. And then it was like kind of a fake bonding with a lot of people, because a lot of the people just left. They were just there for that training. So I'm like, I just hung out for 2 days with these randos. We're all like, you're great. And everyone scattered. Except the people that stayed at the camp. There were some of those. Yeah, good to have stuff like this. You never know. I might need this if I go back to that camp. Trying to figure out my next year. Here's that beautiful copy of Voyage of the Beagle, Darwin's other major book, and more of a narrative, is my understanding. I don't know, I've never read it. But when I do, I'm going to have a really beautiful copy to read. Wow. I kind of prefer reading a paperback. I'm like comfortable with it, but I'll read a stately hardcover. Sure, why not? Oh, good. I'm glad I have this. I have that book, 5 biggest ideas in science, and one of them is the periodic table of elements. And so I was trying to acquire books on that subject. Also, that's a beautiful modern book right there. Look at that. Good design. Looks great. Okay. Cover design by Alison Forner. I'm going to remember that name. It's tasteful, but there's a lot going on. Yeah. Like the spine in contrast to it. That's good. The black matching the black. That's good. And the fonts are good. And anyway, and it's also probably an interesting story. Periodic table is a really cool thing in that, like, we've learned so much just because it's like this predicts this. Just look at the, that thing was put together before all the elements were discovered, and there they were. This was on display in my previous house, propped up on top of a shelf, and I'm thinking it should be again. It's a great looking old weird book, and I'm probably not going to ever actually read it. I mean, I might. I kind of want to know what's in there, but okay, I'm going to leave this one out to display. Oh, it'll be like seeing a friend everywhere I walk. Hello, friend. Reminds me of once when I met an old man on a trail who pulled out a black and white picture of a fish he had caught 50 years before, just right over there. I'm like, afterward, I was like, why did he have that on him? He carried that photo on him for 50 years. It's a rather beautiful old book. 1958. The same year this part of town I'm living in was really built. A big year for suburbs. There was a post-war boom of building and a reallocation of funds away from cities and countryside towards suburbs. They really got the bulk of the government funding around that time. And new car-based shopping centers were taken over. Drive-thrus were more popular than ever. I just never thought growing up about just what a car-based phenomenon the suburbs were. I didn't really understand what the suburbs were. I remember watching that movie Suburbia from Richard Linklater. That one, not the Penelope Spheres one, though I have seen it since. And I don't know, I had this like visual idea of what the suburbs are, but I didn't really understand how like they can only exist because of cars. If fossil fuels wane and the lack of ability to get around happens, the suburbs are going to have to totally transform into villages. James Howard Kunstler wrote about that well in The Long Emergency. I mean, the suburbs don't produce anything. They're just the place you go after you produce labor or something somewhere else. They don't work without reliable, fast transport. Right now, that's gas. Though when the suburbs were laid out a lot of times, it was around streetcar plans. But then General Motors came in and ripped out all those streetcar tracks. Jeez. Like Nob Hill in Albuquerque, that was laid out specifically around the streetcar lines. Albuquerque had a daily streetcar from like 1880 to like 1925. My podcast just did an episode on that biz. And I learned things because my co-host Ty did all the research. Haha. Guess I should put this in the to read. My kid's mom said, if I gave you a book, would you read it? So it's probably just got like good advice. Practical. Yeah, I struggle with parenting books sometimes. I'm like, this is boring me. I'm more of a free-range parent, man. I let them run wild. No, that's not true, but it has happened. Teens be crazy, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I'm not threatened by this book. I'll read it. Though one time I heard an anecdote from a family friend. He said he was at a restaurant and there were these kids that were so well behaved sitting with their parents, and he was just the whole meal long, he was just marveling at their great behavior. And he went up and was chatting with them afterward on his way out, and he's like, how do you make the kids behave so well? And the dad produced a pamphlet about this product that's essentially a metal car antenna that you just hit your kid with all the time and discipline them constantly. And it's like the rod or something. And this guy was just like horrified reading this brochure. He's all, and then he starts looking around and everyone looks different. Then he remembered the kids all look terrified. The wife's like totally meek. That's not this book. That's just some psycho in a restaurant. Psycho, yeah. Especially the dad in that family. Yikes. But also whoever's making that product, give me a break. That's how my parents raised me, hitting me with a car antenna. And I'm great. Are you? Are you great? I don't think you're scarred and wounded by that at all? By a parental figure you trusted and loved, like hurting you physically? Secrets from Bottom Line's great experts. How do I end up with crap like this? What is this? 101 ways to live healthier, wealthier, wiser, and happier too. Yeah, I'm not threatened by books like this, and I guess I'm kind of glad they exist. Where does it fit in the big story of books? Is it kind of like a zine? It's a helpful booklet. Oh, Bottom Line. That must be like a magazine or something. This book is strange. I really love urban planning. Great topic. Should this be in the science section? I don't understand this section. For the love of cities, the love affair between people and their places. Yeah. I love urban planning. It's a good topic. Wonder if this is a little bougie or something. I don't know. I can't tell. But I kind of like the design. It's interesting. It's different than any other book in my collection. Different colored spine. I guess it works. Looks like a city skyline. Looks like a graph. The Time Trap. How to get more done in less time. What a weird cover. Saw it. You are under a spell. Am I in the sight of something, or are we looking out at something? The Time Trap. What does this cover have to do with this image? That's wild. So I saw time. That's what it looks like. Time is a unique resource. Although everybody has exactly the same amount of it, there are always people who complain. There are always people who complain they never have enough, while a rare few manage to get through a tremendous amount of work each day and still find time to make contributions to their communities and enjoy their private lives. Obviously, the doers know something about time that most other people don't know. What this is, our Alec Mackenzie spells out in The Time Trap, a study of time wasting and a no-nonsense guide to managing your way out of the trap. Okay, this actually sounds interesting to me. That cover, I don't know. This is like activating some Winter Soldier program I'm in or something, looking at this. This happens with book covers to me sometimes. Next thing I know, I'm waking up behind the wheel of my speeding vehicle, but it's a vehicle I've never seen before. But it seems like it is my vehicle. There's things in there that like IDs I've never seen with my name on it. What? I really do love that movie American Ultra, and I was so sad to hear its screenwriter was like a creep. It got Me Too'd bad, and sounded just predatory from what I read. Dang it. I don't know. Sometimes you got to separate the art from the artist a little bit, because with movies are so complicated because a lot of people are needed to make a movie. Like, so if just one person in the cast has bad behavior in whatever way, like sometimes really horrible ways, does that mean it's just like, well, all that was for naught, you know? The Time Trap. This was from a free shelf at, I believe, Albuquerque High School when my son was playing a soccer game there one night. I never went to Valdez. I spent about a year and a half in Alaska. A year and some change. What was it? But I remember when this happened, just in the national news, it was a big deal. It's horrible. The price of a fossil fuel economy. And yeah, let's get away from that. It's just a really high consequence fuel source, so if we can transition to other things, we really should. It's doing a number on the climate, which we need to live, you know? Goodbye coastal everywhere if the ice caps melt. Really more of a when at this point, sadly. That movie Reminiscence, directed by Jonathan Nolan, had a really interesting vision of a flooded Florida going through Miami on speedboats and cartels controlling all the individual skyscrapers that were sticking out of the water. That was like my favorite part of that movie. How many oil spills have there been since this one? I think of the Gulf spill. I was like following that in real time, as many of you probably were too. I mean, You know, it'd be cool if humanity didn't destroy the whole planet and ourselves. There's so much potential. This was given to me as a gift. It's a beautiful, newish book by Diane Ackerman. Her other book that I have is A Secret Natural History of the Senses, which is a really cool book about the senses. Might be in this pile. Surprisingly not. But the Anthropocene, that's a good topic, you know. How has humanity shaped the world? What a beautiful cover. What a beautiful book. Wrap around. Oh, yeah. I think I like wraparounds even better when they don't have a little square over them, but I totally see why they do that. It's to make the text stand out. No, I don't know. I don't mind it, I guess. Looks good. The barcode, that's the big offender, but you gotta have that. Once in a while, you'll see a well-incorporated barcode. If you use the barcode as the basis of your book cover, then it would look good. But this is not that kind of a book cover. Beautiful. Humans have subdued 75% of the land surface. I just realized I should do these as a separate video. Tom Brown Jr.'s guidebooks. This one has made such a difference in my life. I haven't read these other ones. Separate video coming up. Also, I only have so much time. How long is this thing? 15. Okay, I'll finish this real quick. Gotta go get my kiddo soon. This book intrigues me so much, I have to read it. This seems like an idiosyncratic, unique kind of masterwork made by a really unique person that happens to share a ton of my interests. It's about like everything, cosmology, the Big Bang, etc., entropy, huge principles, etc., but it's also about a river trip. And it kind of does that thing I love to do where you tell a story and then just like extrapolate into these huge contexts. Fun. I don't know. It's cool. It's the kind of reading that like makes you feel like, man, the world is cosmic and mythic and good. It's huge. I want to read this thing. Journey from the Big Bang to the Big Brain. The river that flows uphill. Yeah, but it's a river trip story. Mind-boggling. A unique piece of science writing. What a great quote to get from somebody. New York Times Book Review. Wow. Sierra Club Paperback Library. Cool. William H. Calvin. The Grand Canyon. Great place to think about deep time on Earth because you can see a lot of Earth's geologic history, level by level. I used to have this book I got rid of that it was written by people that thought the Grand Canyon was formed during a single flood and that the Earth was 7,000 years old. I gave it to an illiterate tramp so he could look at the pictures. That's not true. Oh, yeah, Rain. Natural and Cultural History. I'm so glad to finally have this book because I once bought a fiction book accidentally that I thought was a history of rain. I was like, yeah, what a great topic. No, it was about like relationships. I'm just, I joke, but I'm sure that's a fine book. I think it was by Nicole Krauss. But I actually want to know about rain in cultural and natural history. I really do. And this is that book, which I have not read yet, but I will. And I thought this book would pair well with this book, A Biography of Water. What a great topic. When I saw this, I was like, well, I wasn't going to buy any books today, but I'm buying this one. I think it was at a library sale. I was fooling myself. I'll just spend $10 today. $50 to $60 later. All the money that was in my wallet, probably. Yeah, can I just bring my car around because there's so many bags? I'll look at those next. Do these belong in the science? I guess so. Yeah, they're about plants and stuff. Anyway, then that'll be that for the science section. It's the last of the science books. Sorry, nerds. Just kidding. For science. This has been Science Books. I've never seen so many science books. I have. It's really a rather moderate collection. It's not even a full half of a bookcase. All right. Well, science books. They're cool. And you can kind of pile them up on a bed and like kind of make them take the shape of like a person. Put some clothes on the science book pile. And it's like you're not alone, It's so nice. Those science books. All right, and after those Tom Brown books, I want to look at these Lake Powell Glen Canyon books. I swear, it's not a boring topic. It's really interesting, even if it's super specific. Not everyone's going to want to read a bunch of books on that, but I can recommend one or two that everybody could and should read, because it actually is a subject that is of international import, as is a lot of stuff that has to do with water in the West. People that don't watch to the end of the videos often don't see some of the best cat footage. I mean, this is what the internet was built on. Oh, happy 20th birthday, YouTube. Isn't that crazy today? YouTube really has been a life-changing thing. I'll never forget seeing the movie Disturbia in 2006 and it, in theaters, essentially a remake of Rear Window. And it ended with a YouTube joke, and everyone in the theater went crazy. Like, it mentioned that brand new thing we all love. And Baby Squirrel was so offended. But that she wasn't alive yet in there. Prismo was fine with it. What am I saying? Prismo, tell us what you saw. You were the first one on the scene. Huh. And Squirrel, is it true you're a noble floof? I think it is. Yeah, that's just like too cute, Squirrel. Come on. You're really hamming it up. You're quite elegant, Chris. Okay, I gotta go pick Sonora up from dance. All right, we should be like Squirrel. Whoa. No one saw. No one saw, Kitty. You're very dignified. Everyone thinks you're dignified and graceful. All right, this has been another shelf of science books. Oh, and thanks for subscribing, subscribers. There's a lot of new subscribers. That's way cool. What? Somebody must have like shared a video or something. Suddenly one video got a bunch of likes. What? That's so cool. Then I'm like, is it cool? Why do I want people to watch these? What's my motivation here? Build my brand? Do you hear how pathetic that sounds? My older brother, Obert Sky, aka Rob, to me, my older brother, wrote these books and has written for Scholastic and Henry Holt and Simon & Schuster. He did say, don't even bother like looking for an agent if you don't already have a social media following. That's what his agent said. Yikes. But I don't feel like I do anything solely for any reason, you know? Like, I'm large, I contain multitudes. Like, I'm aware of that stuff, but I also hate that stuff. I want to be like Thomas Pynchon, you know? I understand, though, we live in a reality where you kind of can't be. I don't know. It's just fun. I want to be part of a big conversation. I want to connect with the world. Why am I looking at this shelf? This is nonfiction. I gotta go. Bye.